There are a lot of times when you're out making a photograph where you might not be able to position yourself so that all of the buildings that you're photographing are straight. In this case, you need to correct their perspective, and Camera Raw has a very easy way to do this. So with the door and the arch images selected, I'll click on the Open in Camera Raw icon. And then I want to make the same changes to both of these images. So I'm going to select them both by holding down the Command key and selecting them both in the film strip area. Then I'll move over to Lens Correction, click in the Profile area and enable the Lens Profile Corrections, move to the Color tab and remove Chromatic Aberration. Now, the reason that I want to turn on both of those features is because when I move to the Manual tab, these upright modes will work better if I have enabled the lens profile correction and remove the chromatic aberration. Now, at this point, I could click on any of the different upright modes, and those upright modes would be applied to both of the images, but they would be applied to each image individually. So Camera Raw would actually calculate the upright or the corrective perspective on each one of the images independently. However, let's take a look at them one at a time. I'm going to click on the door image in the film strip, and I have toggled on the Show Grid option. You can toggle that on and off by either clicking right here or tapping the V key. So let's toggle that on as we look at the results of upright. I'll click on the first icon. This is the Auto Upright Correction, and it's going to try to correct the perspective of the image, but it will be conservative. So it's going to give more of a realistic look to the image as opposed to making sure that the vertical and horizontal lines are straight. The second option will actually remove the perspective correction. All it does is it tries to level the image. The third option is going to focus on the verticals in your image and try to make sure that they are straight. And in fact, we can see that it's doing a very good job with the drain pipes here. And then this final option is the full upright mode, which is going to not only try to be sure that those vertical lines are 90 degrees, but also your horizontal lines are as well. All right, let's take a look at the next image, this arch image. I'll click on the Auto Upright, and then let's compare that to vertical. Now we can see with vertical that Camera Raw had to do such a drastic correction that I would need to crop off a lot of this image because this whole area here as well as here are just showing me transparency. So it needed to really distort the image in order to correct those verticals. The last option here, the full upright mode, even though we don't see the transparency like we did with the vertical, you'll notice that indeed this image has actually been cropped for us. So here we don't really have a choice. The full upright mode is doing the cropping in order to make sure that not only the verticals but also the horizontals in the image are corrected. All right, let's go ahead and toggle off the show grid. I think we can see that in both of these instances that Camera Raw did a very good job correcting the image. But of course, if you run into an image where you want to make additional modifications, you can use any of the options here under the Transform section to change the vertical or horizontal perspective of your image. You can rotate it, scale it, and even change the aspect. And you can use the aspect slider, which will go ahead and make it either tall and thin, or it'll go ahead and flatten it out a bit. Again, to reset any of those, we can just double click on that slider. So there you are, a quick way to change perspective of an image in Camera Raw.